if you're gonna letter on the computer, there are at least two things to know. Three, maybe. One is that font size changes depending upon the font. And another is that the leading defaults are usually not what you want. And the third is that you should always print it out and check everything by printing. So I'm going to take these two panels, which are low resolution, sadly, but maybe that'll give us some interesting information. And I'm going to white out over this hand lettering. Oops. There. And do the same thing on these two. And what I'll do is I'll do an example of a normal computer font that maybe is set for that might look like a standard, standard one we might find. And then I'll look for a handwriting one. Oops. So normally when you use a lettering tool, you have boxes. There are other ways to do this with computer lettering, and there are plenty of ways to learn that. And we can go into that, but that's not what this is about. This is more just about letter types, letter sizes, and printing things out as an example. Oh, I forgot what this used to say. How much can we get for this dumpster of legal records and papers? This. So that's 12 point, which is usually recommended font size. Why that's not working, I don't know. So in this example, we have to go up to something more like 36, probably. We'll have to fudge around with it to get it to work for us. We don't love that. I don't love this font. Sometimes in order to get things to fit, you have to sort of make some hard carriage returns and fit things sort of in like this way. And that's not too bad. And the truth is this leading isn't too bad either. Let me demonstrate what the usual leading is, and I'm seeing that it's 36 point here is this font size, and the default leading for this program, and maybe I've set it to be small, is 37.2. Normally it would be notably higher here. And let me see if I can make a copy and show you. It wouldn't be that high, but I think you'd be looking at more like that, maybe even higher, more like that. This is what you'd normally find in a default program for leading. That's too wide. The reason it's too wide is our eye doesn't need that amount of space, and it slows down, and it sort of has to hop back over in order to read it, rather than the quickness that it can read this. It reads this as one unit. How much can we get for this dumpster of legal records and papers? Whereas this one, it reads more like, how much can we get for this dumpster of legal records and papers? Now, I want to play around with, oops, there we go. Let's play around with one other font. Oops, I didn't want to duplicate that one. Oh well. I'll duplicate that one. And I'll see how this looks with my own font. Oops. Notice how 36 points is massive on this font. So we're going to go 24, go a little bit bigger than that. 30 maybe, and then we'll have to fix this. 30 is probably too big, but right now we're just fixing those hard carriage returns. It's too big. Let's try 28. Let's try 27. Let's try 26. A little closer. So I'm going to move it in. I'm going to give it, in a weird way, that lighting might be a tiny bit too tight. I'm going to boost this up to 27. Nope, I'm even going to go 28. That looks about right. Now, I'm going to step away. I'm going to put a hard carriage return here so I can put papers down in there. I'm going to put a hard carriage return there, hard carriage return here. So this isn't great. It's not, computer lettering isn't that elegant, to be honest, but it can work. I'm going to broaden this even still more, 30. That might be about right. There are ways to get more elegant with it with a vector-based program, a publishing-based program. But there, that's not too bad. Let's zoom in. Now the next step is to print this out and decide if it's what we want and then stick with it. Remember, our initial lettering was that. A little tinier, a little sloppier. That's what we kept. That's what I did it with. The new version is, whoops, this. Not great. Now you can play also with, although I wouldn't play too much, should be able to play with the tracking or the letter spacing. Weirdly, I can't find it, so we won't do it. But in other programs you can, where it might widen some of these a little bit to sort of fit that balloon a little bit better, but that might be too much. Anyway, my next step is I'm going to print this. Nope, not that way. I'm going to print this, but I have to make sure that it's 100%. This isn't right. So again, some of this stuff, fit to printable, shrink to printable, scale 100%, something's wrong. So we'll have to test this, making sure that this is the correct, this is about 2 inches tall and probably about an inch wide, maybe 3 inches by 2 inches. And we'll have to make sure we print it at the size we want to finally print at. So let's see how that looks. Okay, on my mission to print this, I've managed to pull up the original page. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. It's just some sort of weird. Working with files can be weird, but once you get your system set, you only have to make these errors once, and then you have it figured out. So for some reason, when I copy and pasted that was a much larger size. And actually, I don't know this program so well, so it might be related to that. And sometimes things get rasterized and don't get rasterized in this program. Anyway, so now I have it ready to print, and we're going to take a look and print it at 100%. That's about right, because I wanted it to be printed. I wanted it to be printed half the size of a piece of paper, and that's roughly half. Although I'd love to change it up. I mean, rotate it, but I can't seem to do that. But let's print it and see how it looks. Yeah, that gives us a good look at the size it would be finally printed at. Let's print.